Rogue Company. We're on Xbox One X. It is indeed enhanced. We're getting pushed towards a 4K resolution. This does not have HDR support. This is a free-to-play third-person shooter. It's kind of squad-based, really focused on squads. And with that, it does have a sort of, I guess you could say, early access paid period prior to it becoming a completely free-to-play sort of experience. So it does have a bit of a hero shooter style to it. You got the individual characters. They all have different abilities that impact the gameplay to a degree, and you're kind of going around blasting in fast-paced action. So now, with this being a sort of early access experience, I have been told to treat it as though it is an actual game that is fully releasing. Though if it is to change a lot beforehand, full release comes out, I'll do an updated thing, but we're kind of reviewing as is at this current point. So this has actually been interesting, again, fairly fast-paced sort of shooter. It's got a good selection of maps and a couple game modes. So in this one, it's sort of, you have a pool of lives that you have to work within. The other one is about bomb planting and disarming, where you get 1 life per round. Both of them have a series of rounds that you need to win in order, win in order to win the whole match. And yeah, it takes a little bit to get used to, but I think it's got pretty good balancing. Just for the fact that you die extremely fast in this game. You're up and down in like a second. It's crazy fast paced, and that does actually work out well for it. It's a unique shooter in that regard. It's sort of fun to play. I do wish there were more kind of mode options present, but I think what it does at its core, it does a good job with. So this is Hi-Rez's latest game. You might know them from Smite. So yeah, it's kind of neat that this is their project. They've been working on it for a while, and I think they've done a fairly solid job with it. I like the style of play. I like that it focuses on a co-op aspect, and I like the buying element too. You're kind of improving your gun and weapons and tools every round, and you have a set amount of cash based on like your performance and your objective play and all that. It's kind of neat. They also give you a lot of, I guess you could say, tactical ways to kind of play it, just in regards to like changing shoulders, a bit of a cover based system to it, and it does actually visually look fairly impressive. I quite like the visual aesthetics of the game. I think the character models actually look fantastic. Very rounded out in certain places, which is always interesting for the female cast. But yeah, they've got a really cool, diverse collection of individuals. I've tried out a number of them, and they're very neat. They've got I quite like Scorch, has a bit of a fire ability to her attack. They've got a sniper character that I kind of liked the look of, but I'm not really much of a sniper, so that didn't do well for me. One guy's got like a cool sort of magnum and a push out to kind of radar detect what's going on. So that's, it's kind of interesting. There's a good tutorial that teaches you all the things. It's got a little bit of a humor to it too, so I think you'll maybe get a laugh of that particular mode when you go to play it. Each of the hero type characters all have like a different sort of combination of weapons and tools that they have available to them. So it is kind of neat how that kind of changes up the play in regards to what abilities and options each character has in their arsenal. And I think that kind of works out well for making this one a little bit more of a unique experience. It's definitely like different. It's playing like a few of the shooters that I've seen recently, kind of, I wouldn't say quite like Counter-Strike, but definitely playing on that sort of concept and doing their own thing with it. But I love how distinct all the characters look. And again, the models are really, really well done. They all look very, very cool. Got that futuristic vibe. The levels are very tight, I've noticed. All of them seem to be. Not a lot of open space areas in them. Some of them have like larger courtyards, but very tight kind of pushed gameplay, because they're supposed to double up as, multiple game modes in regards to like disarming, planting bombs. So you got to kind of, be prepared for that. I do wish that they had more of a system where if you get it down, it's kind of your kill. It's I did like how they eventually fixed that in like gears, because it was always annoying getting the kill steals. And I know you get assists and stuff, but you get the point of what I'm saying there in regards to, finishing guys off and getting the kill. Whoa, getting shot in the back. But yeah, initially I was kind of like, I don't know about this when I was playing, but as I kept going through it and I got more of a handle on it and got used to certain characters, I was like, yeah, I like how smooth this is. I like how well it plays. The style of gameplay, it's actually kind of cool. So again, we're getting into another round here. We've got quite a lot of money to spend, and we get a smoke grenade. I kind of want that instead of other things, but you can also, buy these upgrades, these perks. You get like a melee weapon. There are cool gun skins. I don't see that the store itself is really particularly open at this point. So I imagine they're going to have like a store with this being like a free-to-play offering, right? That's going to expand. So I guess maybe that's not part of their early access. It's very weird because, some platforms don't have the early access, but it's out on those platforms. So it's kind of like, it should be treated as a full release due to that, if that makes sense. Also mention, I guess I should have beforehand if I didn't, this does have crossplay, so that's great too. Crossplay between the platforms, and it seems to be basically available on everything, so I might honestly check it out on other platforms too later on to see, kind of how it's performing there, just how it looks, and using this as like a high-end console baseline for gameplay quality. But yeah, no, I actually kind of like what they've done here. It feels pretty good. Again, a very wide range of unique characters and abilities. And if you're wondering, it's like, oh, you're just with this one character, you kind of get locked in, if that makes sense, when you're playing matches and stuff. I definitely like this mode a lot more than the kind of round-based one, just with the bombs, because, you die and you're out. Whereas this kind of has more of a life-based thing, you got your lives, and then you can come back, or, oh, Jesus, the grenades. Because it's just like, it's so tense with how quickly you kind of perish in this one. Where it's like, oh, man, yeah, the tension of that mode is just a little bit too much for me. But it's a cool addition. Oh, geez, what is happening here? My controller's dead, even though my controller is plugged in. Sorry about that, we had a controller disconnect that caused a little bit of an issue. But overall, I think it's a pretty good looking game. It doesn't necessarily blow my mind in terms of what it does, but I think it provides a generally very clean, very detailed sort of tactical shooter style of play. It's all about learning the various characters, understanding their mechanics, and kind of working towards that. It seems to have some really neat, some mechanics and, oh geez, gameplay style to it. Again, visuals that are like surprisingly, in my opinion, very detailed, and a diverse selection, not only of characters, like I've mentioned a few times, but the maps too. And I talked about them being more of like tight, linear kind of maps designs. But I also want to talk about the environments on these maps. So they've actually got like a wide range of different areas you can visit. Some are more of an ancient, well, this would probably be considered ancient in this time because it's like super futuristic. This is more of like an old town. But yeah, some of them are like super high-tech, luxury kind of store areas. There's one with like a swim-up bar, which is really cool looking. They just got like such a good wide range of map options that are present. I was just very surprised. And I think you get one map is only available for one playlist, like, as in there's just one exclusive map for one playlist. So it's neat that they have the option to kind of play these maps across different games, modes and stuff, so they're multi-purpose. So great, we jumped into another match here just so we can show off a different character, a different level, and a different squad. I love these openings, they're kind of cool, a little bit simple. I'm assuming to mask a loading screen, and then you get the Rogue Company logo there, kind of cool. And then you jump into the plane, obviously, like we did last time, and we're able to get some initial purchases, seeing that this character does have some different weapon options available to them, and different types of gear and perks. So some of them share some of these elements. I believe I mentioned that a little bit, but it is varied enough where each character has felt fresh, at least all the different ones I've played in testing this out. And we're getting a completely different level here. So they actually, I think, you know, at least in my opinion, that they've got like a very detailed sort of selection of environments. They're very dense in terms of the content. They're not massive, so I think that's how they really keep up the quality. But they do have a decent sort of widespread backdrop, or at least for the most part on a number of the maps, that kind of makes you feel as though you're in a bigger place than where you're actually at. Oh geez, the cover system didn't work there for me, no. Kind of moving around. Oh wow, that's a very interesting movement on the ground there. But yeah, you can also bleed out. So there's an interesting melee system, but you get like blasted really fast. But this character, I believe, has like a bit of a scorch with her punch, which is kind of cool. Like, wow, one shot down, that hurts a lot. I like the focus on team play is good. You know, just the variety of different characters you have meshing together. You're never quite sure what sort of lobby setup you're going to have right when you get this grouping of characters battling it out. And you can obviously climb on spots too. See, we got a bit of a fire with this character because she's scorching. We get down there. Oh, looks like our teammates are all dead. So we could kill ourselves faster too. You can hold down the Y on that one. Yeah, it's really, really great character models. Obviously, when you zoom in a bit, the textures don't quite hold up. But when you're zoomed out like this, they look really, really good. And I like the different styles of play, like we were saying, with the tighter maps. This is one, it's got a little bit more of an open area, but still very tight in what it presents. It keeps things largely, you know, just on foot ground in terms of the verticality, with little options, like minimal options for reaching new heights and new locations. They do have zip lines, but I haven't found the zip lines to be particularly helpful. They're honestly a little bit gimmicky. They do get you to some places faster, but I haven't seen one where I'm like, oh yeah, this makes perfect sense for why it's included in here, if you get what I mean. But it's a neat thing to have, you know, a little visual thing. Just kind of lets you move around the map a little bit differently. Come on, I got a sniper. I should be able to blast this person away in seconds. Oh, hello there. Oh, but I do like the moveset that they give you. Oh, I can't believe we lost already. That was crazy. But also the fact you can kind of like aim your grenades out. I think they play around with the game modes kind of well, doing something a little bit different. Kind of like even the character, like look how distinct they all are here. And then you look within the world and the density of it too. It's generally a fairly impressive release on here. And I haven't noticed really like any performance or anything like that issues. It's all played very smoothly. I haven't had any problems. Like even here with the initial like pop, and when you're kind of loading, you only see that when you're jumping down, and from there on it's like a very clean, smooth looking world that I haven't really had, again, problems with. I'm generally very pleased with what this one has done. I kind of wanted to show off a grenade arc, like aiming wise, but I haven't been able to do that yet. It's kind of just doing a quick shot there. Oh jeez. And they do give you a bunch of different toys to play with, abilities and stuff, because you know, I don't know if we've seen like they got like a drone that heals too. See, this is like kind of the snap cover system, which is kind of well done in my opinion. Looks like we're getting flanked, so that's not good. But yeah, generally enjoyable time. Good, fun shooter. It's definitely a decent effort. I'm curious to see how this one will do. It's great that it supports, you know, the crossplay. I think that's going to help a lot in regards to keeping the community together, because that's really going to be the driving factor behind this. But I mean, it's got Hi-Rez working on it, so, well, I mean, they've been working on it now. They released it. But yeah, they generally do a pretty good job, at least I think, in regards to not only the initial release, but also the post-launch support. And I could see this one having maybe a bit of a long life, where they expand the experience a bit in new ways. I think that would be really cool, just seeing additional maps. But what they have right now, the rotation, I think it's about 7 maps or so. I think that's generally solid for their launch. I would like to see them play around with the modes a bit more, just generally doing some more different weird things, because we have seen, you know, this style of play a lot recently, multiplayer wise, and I think they could do some more different things with like the hero quote-unquote characters that are present here, their different abilities, kind of play them up a bit more, if you know what I mean. Just do some crazier things. But yeah, generally I hope you enjoyed this look at it. We're just going to keep blasting and playing through the level until we finish this, so I hope you enjoy it. We're just going to do casual commentary from this point forward, but yeah, it's kind of fairly frantic. And I hope they get some cool like gun skins and stuff for character skins too. Would be really nice. That's the weird thing about doing this sort of release. Like, I guess you don't want to have the store things in there because you're treating this. Like, I don't know how to explain that. Sometimes with the newer games beforehand, when they give you them to review, they don't have the store and stuff live, so you can't take a look at that, and you're not thinking about them. So I'm just curious about what sort of like options and stuff are are going to be present when the full store of this actually does release. I love the little glider thing on here. It's kind of a little bit fun. It would be cool to get like platform branded, gliders, because they kind of do that with like what PUBG has, like the fly-in with the kind of like Xbox logo, or if you're on Stadia, the Stadia logo, and yeah, it's kind of fun. This ability going on there. And I like that there's like a soft cover system to this too. It's very neat. Like usually cover is like a very locked thing or something where your characters kind of move in and out of it naturally. This one is really like complete choice of whether or not you kind of use the up and down sort of shooting. I think that's kind of cool and a little bit unique. Yeah, let's try to blast these people away. And all the different flanking routes are kind of a little bit fun. Did he get back up there? Yeah, it's kind of moving around very fast. Just so quick-paced. Oh, there we go. Finally a grenade thing where I kind of like aim a little bit to show that arcing system. I like how that's handled. I do find it a bit weird though, melee-wise, they kind of do like the D-pad is your default sort of melee option. It's interesting. Bet you didn't see that coming, did you? There we go. Yeah, I'm not too bad at this either. And you can pick up enemy weapons if that's something of interest to you as well. I think there's even an achievement. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's an achievement for killing someone with a weapon you picked up. The achievements are actually fairly easy for the most part. There's a couple where it's like, this would take a while, but they're all very attainable in my opinion. I would like a more advanced ping system, I suppose. I'm kind of seeing that. Because you can ping where you want someone to go. And then you can ping, obviously, the enemy, but it doesn't really, like, highlight them. You see it show up on the map, but it's not quite the system that I would kind of hope for this one. And you should play around with the maps a bit, too, if you are playing the game, because there's a lot of, like, flanking routes, despite it being tighter. You can really get behind the enemies. And if you're really smart, you might be able to get a good spawn camping area, actually. They do protect you pretty well with an immunity in your spawn, but they definitely, play around with that too. A lot of dead folks in this one. See if we... Oh, jeez. Oh. Yeah, that was kind of crazy. Oh. We're dealing with some more guys. But I think we're going to lose this one, which is fine. How did that guy not die? Oh, jeez. Yeah, he did the whole pull out the other gun faster. But anyways, that's Rogue Company.